Hello, and welcome to the Quiet and Strong podcast, especially for introverts. I'm your host, David Hall, and the creator of quietandstrong.com. This is a weekly podcast dedicated to understanding the strengths and needs of introverts. Introversion is not something to fix, but to be embraced. Normally, we'll air each episode on a Monday. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. Too often, I hear introverts express that they felt something was wrong with them. The fortunate ones learn to embrace who they are and find a new level of success and happiness. Yet there's still too many that are not sure of who they are and don't know what's wrong. I went through this period myself thinking that something was wrong with me. I tried pretending to be something other than myself, maybe pretending to be an extrovert, trying to fake it till you make it, as they say. But not being true to yourself will leave you drained and unhappy and empty inside. So, I've learned that there was nothing wrong with my introversion. But what was wrong was my understanding or lack of understanding of my introversion. Self-awareness is the first step. Who are you? What are your strengths? What are your needs? How do you like to spend your time? And of course, these are frequent topics on this podcast. And on this podcast, we engage in plenty of myth busting. Introversion does not mean shy. Introverts don't hate people, or at least not all people, but are rather deep thinkers who spend more time in their rich inner world of ideas. And because of that, spending more time in your inner world of ideas, introverts have strengths and gifts and also different desires and needs than extroverts. So the first step is to know who you are and where you will find the most success and happiness. The next thing is, then once you know who you are, to live according to your strengths, your needs, your desires. Living an authentic life is living your best life. In The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, she describes authenticity. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect, to set boundaries, and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Exercising the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle, and nurturing the connection and sense of belonging that can only happen when we believe that we are enough. End quote. In her writing and speaking, Brené Brown is very authentic in who she is and who she isn't. Reading this book has been very freeing for me. Too many of us suffer from perfectionism. The truth is, none of us are perfect. But at the same time, we all have amazing gifts. We can be our best. This book is not about introversion and extroversion, but I did hear her say in an interview that she was an introvert. And think of how many lives she's impacted through her writing and speaking, being true to who she is and being authentic. We also greatly benefit by realizing we all have great strengths. Nobody has all strengths, so we need each other. We also all struggle. Some struggles are very visible, and some only the individual knows about. Give yourself some grace, knowing that we are all imperfect, and definitely give grace to all of the other imperfect people. And as Brené Brown says, you are enough. Knowing that you're imperfect is not an excuse for not being your best. Get to know yourself and be you. This can take courage, as not everyone will understand your gifts. Do you want a life of trying to make other people happy? So Brené Brown goes on to say, sacrificing who we are for the sake of what other people think just isn't worth it. Yes, there can be authenticity, growing pains for the people around us, but in the end, being true to ourselves is the best gift we can give to the people we love. When I let go of trying to be everything to everyone, I have much more time, attention, love, and connection for the important people in my life. End quote. The truth is that the world and the people we love need our authentic selves, not a shell of who we think we should be. So, what are your gifts? I really love this quote from Seth Godin in his book, Linchpin, Are You Indispensable? He says, art is a personal act of courage, something one human does that creates change in another. End quote. What is your art? What does the word art bring to your mind? Someone with a paintbrush? I know some very talented people that can paint beautiful art. This is not my gift for whatever reason. I could paint every day for the rest of my life and never approach the gifts of some people that I know. But I have my own art, as do you. We each have art in us that definitely doesn't involve a paintbrush. Do you know artists without paintbrushes? As an example, my accountant is an artist with numbers. So thankfully, I don't have to be. I don't have to keep track of all the latest rules and policies, and I leave that to him. In a cafe I frequent, there's a customer service artist that always has the biggest smile and remembers my name and the names of everyone else. And that's a lot of names. And again, that's not my gift. I recently had a tree get significant damage in a storm, and sadly, it had to be removed before finally falling over and doing more damage. It was in a tricky spot, and I was definitely concerned with how this was going to get taken care of. The guy we hired to remove it was an artist with tree removal. I watched him prepare and execute, taking the tree out by himself safely and effectively. He had a plan, and it was a form of art to watch him. An artist with tree removal. And again, there's many artists in many areas of life. You have your own art. As an introvert, I like to consider myself an artist of business models and developing better ways to serve those I work with as well as our clients. So what is your art? Have you fully developed your artistic skills? Live authentically. You and the world need you to be your best. Be an artist and continually develop your craft. And be proud of who you are. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to further connecting with you. Email me at david@quietandstrong.com or check out the quietandstrong.com website. I'll add social media channels to the show notes. Please comment on the social media posts related to this podcast. Send me topics or guests you would like to see on the show. There's so many great things about being an introvert, and so we need those to be understood. Get to know your introverted strengths and needs, and be strong.